Okay, so we've had the Hobao Hyper MT Plus 2 for a little bit more than 6 months now. Thought I'd give you a little bit of an update, see where we're at. Maybe talk about what's going very well with the car and what's going not so well. Let's have a quick look at the body first. So the body has got some scratches on the roof where I've landed on the concrete. It's got some wear to the roll cage here, where the plastic has rubbed on the concrete. Got some big scratches on the front. We've got a bit of a crack in the front of the body. Some scratches on the back tail. The white paint has slowly coming off in some sections from debris flicking up. The foam that I siliconed on has done a great job of protecting the body, so I'm glad I did that. I think maybe my roof would have been crushed by now if I didn't put such a large foam block in there, and it's holding on fine just with some bathroom silicone. So I normally give the body a wash after I've used it each session. I have removed the mirrors because I've seen some people's bodies have been smashed in, and either they've lost the mirror or they've lost the Lexan where the holes are. So I've decided just to put those mirrors back in the box and keep them safe. So overall, the body is looking pretty good, and I'm sure it'll do another 6 months, no problem. Let's go to the main alu ladder frame chassis. Still straight, although I'm not doing the biggest jumps. You can see where I've taken it to the skate park. I've hit the coping and there is some damage here where I've hit the coping. So I've just hit that with the sandpaper, the 400 grit. I've also used 400 grit sandpaper on the back and the front, just to try and smooth down those edges so I don't cut myself while I'm working on it. There's been no need for me to buy the reinforcement plates. The chassis is still straight, still got the standard servo, still got the standard motor, standard ESC, standard pinion. The car's way too quick for me, only running on 4S. The second-hand batteries that I bought are still good. The 16-tooth pinion that it came with, still good. The radio is actually fantastic. The car can travel as far as I want in a park, so I'm very happy with it. What I do is I put a couple of drops of Teflon oil on the bearing at the back of the motor and on the bearing at the front of the motor. The ESC punch level is all the way down the bottom. The low voltage LiPo cutoff is as high as possible because I don't want to run my LiPos down below 3 volts, which accidentally happened one day. They went down to 2.6 or 2.8. So I'm lucky I haven't destroyed those LiPos. Let's move on. Okay, so the center diff that I put the 300k silicone oil in still feels really good. Now I've taken the drive shafts from the center, and there's some huge wear on these drive shafts from the center. Apparently that's normal, so I might have to replace these pins very soon, especially this one. Yeah, this one has got some massive wear in it. So a quick trick, what I might do is just spin them around. That'll give me another 6 months, and then I'll replace the pins completely. The shafts themselves are still straight. No bends in the shafts at all. So I will have to inspect my differential if there's any leakage there. The reason I need to do that is that the front diff and the rear diff have been leaking. I lost all my 3K and 7K oil. Still plenty in there to keep the gears well lubricated, but knowing that both front and rear have been leaking. I need to open up this center and check that. The outdrives in the center diff look absolutely fantastic. They look as new as day one. So the metal in here is really hard, very hard steel. And a good thing that the pins are soft. So that's where the wear is. So my front and rear diffs, I've taken them apart and put some heaps of green slime in them. They seem to leak from the pin access port grub screw. So I've put some grease on the grub screw before putting that back in on both. So I'm running 3 in the rear and 7 in the front. Now you'll notice that this rear diff here has got some really big wear, some big chunks taken out of it. And that's because my universal drive shafts have popped out on more than one occasion from the rear diff. Actually, it's only the rear right, not even the rear left. The rear left is beautiful, but the rear right has popped out many times on small jumps, very small jumps. So we're going along, and then what happens is the truck lands and the arms compress, and as they compress, when they get into a vertical, when the pin's in a vertical position, I think that's when it pops out, and then it goes into this groove here, and then you're trying to spin and you just can't, so it just stays in that spot there. And so we've got massive wear to the outdrive, a little bit of wear to the universal, but nothing too much there. That still can be used. And it's very noticeable because once it's in that lock position there, you've got a straight arm in a compressed position, which means the car handles like a dog because there's no suspension on the rear right anymore. You've got no more drive. All the drive's going to the left side of the rear and the front wheels. So now you're making your center diff work harder, you're making your rear diff work harder. So you'll know straight away, and you pull over and you'll see that this universal is stuck, and you need to take a few things apart to get it back in. You can't even just push it back in. So I've complained to Hobao that it seems to me that the drive shafts are too short, or you need to run such an aggressive toe and camber setting on the rear. You can see there some big damage to the A-arm. That's where this shaft's come out and taken big chunks out of the A-arm. So yeah, Hobao first build the car with big toe in and big camber on the rear, and the car can't reverse straight and it doesn't handle its speed. So you go and change all the camber and toe settings. Then you find out that your drive shafts pop out, so you can't win. Either your drive shafts are popping out or the car doesn't handle. So I mentioned this to Hobao, and within a day they agreed to send me the new version of the drive shafts, which are 1mm longer. So I'm waiting for those to arrive. They're the same part number, they just got a -1 on the end. They're going to send me new A-arms for the rear, and they're going to send me new outdrives as well, because that's so sharp now. It's got big chunks taken out of it. So I think the part number is 94095-1. They're available on the Hobao USA website, not on the international Shoppertron site. But the representative just said, give me your address and I'll mail that out to you. So that was very nice of Hobao, top customer support in that regard. Just a shame that this wasn't picked up before the truck was built and sent out, but at least they came good. And I've heard from Werner Slein on Facebook, who is Stefan Z on YouTube, the guy who makes big jumps in his backyard. He says that the new drive shafts that are 1mm longer will be fantastic for the rear, and I'll really enjoy those. So we're looking forward for those to come, because I really want to get this rear clip back together. You can see my homemade shock covers, which are made from a bicycle tube, have held up fantastically. They're still in the same position, keeping all the dirt off those rear shocks. And the front clip has just been sensational. No issues with drive shafts popping out, no wear to the drive pins. I think so much power is going to the rear of the truck that the front just looks brand new. So I've adjusted the toe and camber to my preferences, and the drive shafts have been fine. The outdrives have been fine. So I guess the problems are only with the rear. Alright, well, that concludes all areas of the truck after 6 months, and hopefully we get another 6 months before we have to do probably do a full strip down and rebuild after we've passed 1 year, just to make sure everything's nice.